So we are discussing about the financial statements of a bank and the system based on which the books are prepared. It is called slip system. What was slip system? Based on the slips, the transactions are posted directly into the ledger. Journal is not prepared. Okay? Keep that in your mind. Slip and the vouchers here, the evidences supporting the transactions. Which are they? Withdrawal slip, pay-in slip, check. And as we are using such slips, the name comes slip system. And we learn the characteristics of bank's bookkeeping system, advantages, disadvantages, and the format of balance sheet and profit and loss account. We discussed profit and loss account, and today we will be discussing balance sheet. Before that, let me remind you, it is under third schedule of Banking Regulations Act 1949. The format for balance sheet and profit and loss account is given. The financial statement formats are given under Schedule 3. Section 29, okay, and there are two parts, Form A, Form B. Form A describes the balance sheet and B gives you the details of profit and loss account. And I told you the schedule number is very important. We provide a separate column for schedule number, and schedule number 1 to 12 is recorded in the balance sheet, and from 13 to 16 you can see that in the profit and loss account. Okay, and this is a format of profit and loss account. 1, 2, 3, and then a total column. Again a few more items are there. 1 is regarding the income, 2 expenditure, and income minus expenditure will give you the profit or loss. Again, if there is any loss brought forward, that is also adjusted, and certain items transfer to statutory reserve, other reserve, etc. are also added to the profit. Okay, this is the format of profit and loss account, Form B. Now today let's discuss the balance sheet, the format of balance sheet. Have you taken it down, the format? Again we have 4 columns. First one for particulars, second one schedule number, very important. Then 2 values are given. Amount column we have 2 for the current year amount and to show the previous year amount. And what for is this? Why are we providing the 2 columns? Yes? Why do we provide the amount columns of current year as well as previous year? What is the purpose? What is the purpose? Yes, Aditya? Why do we provide 2 columns? Yes, Aparna? It is for comparison. Comparing the current year amounts with the previous year. For the purpose of comparison. Okay, we give the 2 amount columns. And see, look at the items that appear on the balance sheet. The first section is for capital and liabilities, and then comes the asset. And don't confuse this with the financial statements of a company. No. It looks similar, but both are different. Companies' financial statements are given by the Companies Act 2013. But these formats are prescribed by Banking Regulation Act 1949. Don't forget the difference. Okay? Both look similar, and both the cases the statements are prepared in the vertical format. Vertical. Not like the sole proprietorship partnership balance sheet. They are in the horizontal format, but here we have it in the vertical format. And the first we have capital and liabilities. Second comes under that, below that comes assets. Okay. Now the first one is capital, schedule 1 to 12 appears in balance sheet. Okay, so let's see about schedule 1. Schedule 1, capital. Okay, here for nationalized banks, the capital, how is the capital? The capital is fully owned by the central government. Okay, then if it is a foreign bank, the banks incorporated outside India, foreign banks, then the capital, the amount brought in by banks by the way of startup, okay, and the amount of deposit kept with RBI, both the amounts are shown. And regarding the other banks, the other commercial banks, these are the various kinds of capital. We will be going in detail about this in part B of accountancy. Share capital, okay, authorized capital, issued capital, subscribed capital, called up capital. So under schedule 1, capital, these are the items shown. Clear? Next comes reserves and surplus. Reserves and surplus. Reserves and surplus constitute statutory reserve, capital reserve, okay, security premium, revenue and other reserves, profit and loss account, balance. You just have to know what are the various items that appear under various heads. Same like the companies that we learned. Item name will be given and you will be asked under which head it will appear, or which is a schedule related to it. These are the questions that we can expect from this area. Okay, reserves and surplus, and the order is very important. The order in which the heads are arranged, that is very important. You cannot mix up or shuffle them. Okay, reserves and surplus. So we have statutory reserve, capital reserve, security premium, revenue and other reserve, and profit and loss account, balance. Then the third one is deposits. Deposits, demand deposits, savings bank deposits, and term deposits. What are term deposits? Yes, which are the term deposits? Yes, tell me. The time deposits, based on time, which is not withdrawable on demand. Which are they? Why no one is answering? Which are the term deposits? Fixed deposit, recurring deposit. Okay. Now the fourth head is borrowings. Borrowings. Borrowings means the borrowings from the Reserve Bank of India, the borrowings made by the bank from Reserve Bank of India, or any other borrowings from other banks, other financial institutions if the bank has borrowed money, or borrowings outside India, okay, from any other financial institution outside India if the bank has made borrowings. So the fourth heading is borrowings. Now coming to the next one, fifth heading. So these are the items that appear on the first section, that is capital and reserves, other liabilities and provisions. The fifth one, number 5. Number 5 is other liabilities and provisions. Other liabilities means the bills payable, inter-office adjustments. Inter-office adjustments means if there is any adjustment between the bank and its head office, a particular bank, a branch, and it will be having a head office, and any kind of adjustments or anything between the bank and the head office, that is called inter-office adjustments. Inter-office adjustments. Then we have other provision, a provision for debts, provision for taxation, the provisions that we maintain. Okay, that is also a liability. Provision for doubtful debts, bad debts, provision for taxation. Okay. So these are the items that come in the first part, that is capital and liabilities. Okay, capital and liabilities. First one capital, reserve and surplus. Third one deposits. Fourth one borrowings. Fifth one other liabilities and provisions. Okay. Now coming to the next section, that is assets. Asset of the bank, assets. So that is 6, item number 6, cash and balances with RBI. Cash balance and the balances maintained with RBI. So that includes cash in hand, the cash, liquid cash, the current asset cash, and it includes the foreign currency notes also. Even if the currency notes are maintained, the foreign currency notes are maintained, that also is considered cash in hand. And also the balances with RBI. We know a current account, the banks will be having a current account with RBI, and the balances that is maintained. And if there is any other kind of accounts maintained with RBI, the cash balances with that. Okay. And the next one, balances with banks and money at call and short notice. Balances with banks and money at call and short notice. That means if any balance, the bank has given loan to any other bank, one particular bank has given loan to some other banks. Okay, that is called the balances with banks or any other bank. And it includes current account as well as other deposit accounts. Money at call and short notice. That means, money at call means what? Suppose the bank has given loan to some other bank for just 1 or 2 days, for a very short period of time. The bank has given money to other banks or other financial institutions for very short time, maybe for 1 or 2 days or just for an overnight. So that is called money at call. And then short notice means again for some more days, maybe a week, 7 days, 10 days. Okay, that is called short notice. And this balances with banks and money at call, short notice, it can be either in India or outside India. Hope the class is clear. Am I online? Can you see me? Yes, okay. Okay, there is power failure here. Okay. So, we are with asset. Then, moving to the next one, that is investments. Investment. Okay. Investments. Investment means any kind of investments made in the government securities, other approved securities. Banks have made investment in the form of shares. We will be learning this in part B, shares, debentures and bonds. Any other ventures, any investment in the gold. Okay, these are investment. Any form of investment made by the bank, that comes under the head investment. Okay. Next, schedule number 9 is related to advances. Advances. Advances includes, you can see the box under schedule 9, advances, how the calculations come. It has got 3 parts, I mean A, B, C, and that is the first part. Number 1 includes A, B, C, and then comes number 2, that is advances outside India. A constitute bills purchased and discounted. It also includes cash credit, overdraft and loan payable on demand, term loans. And B, secured by tangible assets. Those advances where some security is given, secured by tangible assets, or it is covered by bank or government guarantee, or maybe unsecured. Then advances in India. Advances in India. Any kind of advances in the priority sector, public sector, banks and others. Please take down. A, B, C, all these constitute number 1, Roman number 1, and advances outside India is 2, and both these 1 and 2 will be added and shown in the total amount column. Don't forget about our assignment on banking. Sharath has submitted me. Very good, Sharath. Okay, that is about 9. And the 10th one is about the fixed assets. Fixed assets. You can see the schedule 10 fixed asset, what are included in it. Those who have kept the videos off, please switch it on, or please message me in the chat box. Okay, so fixed assets. Premises. The first one, premises at cost as on 31st March of the preceding year. What was the previous year amount, and any additions during this year, or if any deductions are made. So schedule 10 is fixed assets. Keep that in mind first, and this is the way it is calculated. Understand that. Other fixed assets. Other fixed assets. which is other than the premises. Same. What was the cost? Closing amount, then additions during the year, deductions during the year, that is subtracted from it, and the total is found. That is schedule 10, fixed assets. And 11, other assets. Other kind of assets. Inter-office adjustment, I told you, the transactions between the bank and the head office. That is inter-office adjustments. Interest accrued. Tax paid in advance. Stationery and stamps. Non-banking assets. Over other assets. And there is one more item, schedule 12, that is contingent liability. Just a second, let me show you the balance sheet. You can see the contingent liability, it doesn't appear inside the balance sheet. It is shown outside the balance sheet. Did you notice it? Did you find that? You can see contingent liabilities over here. It is not appearing inside the balance sheet. It is shown outside the balance sheet. Okay. It is related to schedule number 12 and it appears as a footnote. It is shown as a footnote in the balance sheet. What is contingent liabilities? Liabilities which may or may not happen. We are not sure about it. Such liabilities are called contingent liabilities. Okay. Those liabilities which is not shown in the liability part, the first one, capital and liabilities, that will appear in contingent liabilities, and those are the liabilities which are expected, which may or may not happen. We are not sure about it. Okay, so it doesn't appear inside the balance sheet. It is shown like a footnote outside the balance sheet under the total amount separately. Okay. Just a second, let me take the attendance, please. May I know who's absent today? Femina is absent. Femina and Atul. Yes, all others are present. Basil is there. Irfan, Sharath. Can you please switch on your videos? Okay. So we are 12. One more person who is absent. Atul Krishna.
Hadi Aman.
Who?
Hadi.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Hadi Aman. Okay. So 3 absent, all others are present. Okay. So, have you finished taking it down? Over? Yes or no? If you haven't finished, please tell me. Otherwise, I want to move to the next topic. So,
No, ma'am.
okay. Okay, please complete. So we were discussing about the financial statements of a bank. How do the bank maintain their financial statements? And it is given under Schedule 3 of what? Banking Regulations Act 1949. And it is not under Companies Act 2013. Then there are two parts. Form A is related to balance sheet. Form B is related to profit and loss account. Schedule number 1 to 12 appears in the balance sheet and 13 to 16 is shown in the profit and loss account. And don't forget, the format is vertical format. It is not in the horizontal format. Okay? And you should know which schedule is related to which item. The schedule numbers are important. Finish? Okay. Next topic is non-performing. Okay. The next topic is about non-performing asset. What is this non-performing assets? Let's understand the meaning. Non-performing assets refers to the classification of loans and advances. Okay, various loans and advances provided by the bank and in which there is no payment of interest and principal received and are past due. That means we know what are the assets of the bank. The loans that is provided by the bank to the borrowers, they are the asset. Am I right? And the deposits that the bank receive is actually the liability of the bank, because one day they should repay it back to the depositor. So the deposits is the liability for the bank, and the loans and advances are the asset. So when the bank is giving loan, the bank is definitely expecting interest and also the principal amount, repayment of the principal amount, that is there. But those loans or advances where the borrowers are not paying the interest, have not paid the interest to the bank, or the repayment of principal amount, repayment of the loan amount is not done, such assets are called non-performing assets. Understand? First, understand what are assets of the bank. Asset of the bank means the loans and advances given by the bank to the borrowers. They are the assets. And there is a term you can find, past due. Past due refers to payment that has not been made by its cut-off time. Past due. There will be a definite time for which the repayment has to be done, and on that particular date or on that particular time the payment is not done. That is the word past due. Okay. Now, when will we consider an asset as non-performing asset? The loan payments have been outstanding for more than 90 days. For 90 days. If it is for 90 days, the repayment is not done. 90 days, then it is considered as non-performing asset. Do you understand what is non-performing asset? So what are assets? Asset of the bank. The loans and advances are the asset of the bank. For the loans given to the borrower, the bank is expecting interest or the repayment of loan. Okay. So the borrower has not paid the principal repayment, or the borrower is not giving interest to the bank. Such assets are considered as non-performing assets. And if it is delayed for more than 90 days, then it is considered as non-performing asset. When is the asset considered as NPA, non-performing asset? Note the abbreviation given, NPA, short form, non-performing asset. Asset is not performing, non-performing. Performance is not done. Interest is not paid. Okay. So you can see a picture, a bank, a loan, no payment for 90 days. Then it is considered as non-performing asset. Okay? Yes. And there are classification of NPA. We classify them under different heads. NPA, the non-performing assets are classified. Shubham, can you please mute your device? Shubham? Okay. So, the first classification is standard assets. Standard assets. Standard assets are those which have remained NPA for 12 months or less than 12 months. 12 months or less than 12 months. Okay? So it is less than 12 months. So the risk associated is normal. The risk is normal. So what are standard assets under non-performing assets? Those assets which remained NPA, non-performing, for 12 months or less than 12 months. Less than 12 months of period. That is called standard asset. Okay. And there is next one, substandard assets. Substandard assets. Substandard asset means for more than 12 months. If it has lied NPA for more than 12 months, then it becomes substandard assets. And it has got more than the normal risk. And we can say that the credit worthiness of the borrower, the financial capacity, the financial strength of the borrower is also weak. He is not paying it for more than 12 months. The bank is waiting for more than 12 months. So that is substandard assets. So standard assets, the assets which are NPA for less than 12 months or less than 12 months. Substandard assets means more than 12 months. And the third one is doubtful debts. Doubtful debts. And if the period is exceeding 18 months, more than 18 months, okay, then it falls under the category doubtful debt. Now it's under doubt. Doubtful debts. So the first one, 12 or less than 12. The next one, between 12 and 18 we can say. It is greater than 12 and less than 18. Okay. Then it becomes substandard asset, and if it is greater than 18, it falls under the category doubtful debts. And we have one more, that is loss asset. And this is completely the loss, and this kind of assets are identified by an external auditor when auditing is done. It is found out by an auditor when the amount collection is not done. When the auditor comes for auditing, it can be either the internal auditor, that is within the organization, or outsider, that is external auditor. When the auditor comes, auditing is done, then they identify that certain loans are not repaid, the amounts has not collected, then it falls under loss assets. So here it is sure it will not be received. So then the banks will have to write off the loan amount, or create provision for the full amount. They are not going to get this amount anymore. It is loss asset. Okay, so there are 4 categories: standard asset, substandard asset, doubtful debts, and loss asset. Loss, complete loss. And these loss assets, they are identified by the auditors. When they come for auditing, when they check the records, they come to know that certain loan amounts are not collected, and it is not possible to collect them. So this is NPA. And with this, we come to an end of chapter 6. We have successfully completed the chapters of banking. And we have one more, that employability skills are there. I need to check with the other teachers, because that portion is not there in the textbook. I couldn't find it. If anyone of you have got it, or you have identified the portions, please let me know. Okay, we have still time. Let me see. I'll check with the other teachers and will let you know. Okay. And there are some more small topics within this chapter 6. That is all related to accounting. We'll do that. We'll revise that when we do the revision part. Okay. So from now onwards, from the next day onwards, we'll be revising every topic, each and every topic, each and every chapters. Okay, we'll make every topics clear. We'll learn it from the class itself. Is it okay?